Humiliation sucks. We've all experienced it. It has a way of convincing you that one painful moment, whether it happened yesterday or 20 years ago, defines who you are. But it doesn't. Listen to what most of us say after we've been humiliated. This is what we say. I'm such an idiot. I'll never recover from this. I'm so embarrassed. I'll never live that down. Here's what you're going to say instead. Something humiliating happened to me, and it's not who I am. Something humiliating happened to me, and it's not who I am. Why does that matter? Because your brain is just listening to the story you tell yourself. Researchers at UCLA, including neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman, whom I love, and psychologist Naomi Eisenberg, discovered that social rejection and humiliation activate many of the same brain regions involving physical pain, right? Particularly the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex and the anterior insula. In other words, your brain doesn't simply remember humiliation, it experiences it as pain. Your brain also remembers these moments for a long time. I remember being 13 years old. I'm 62 now. I was 13, stood on the edge of an above the ground pool, and I broke the middle. I was a chubby kid, but I wasn't like hugely overweight, and I never lived that down. That was one of the most humiliating teenage experiences, and I still remember it when I go, oh, right? We all have those, right? Research has found that about 70% of us can recall a humiliating experience that continued affecting us for years, and that one did for me. Your brain isn't trying to punish you, though. It's trying to protect you from experiencing the same pain again. So when you say, I am a failure, your brain hears identity. When you say, something humiliating happened to me, your brain hears an experience. I am is a very powerful phrase to put in front of somebody or in front of emotion. I rarely say, I am so mad. I am feeling so mad is very different than I am mad. I'm not a walking bundle of anger. Got it? Okay. Experiences can heal, right? Identities are much harder to change. Humiliation wants you to confuse the two, so don't let it, okay? That's another conversation. Then another conversation often begins, they're going to pay for this, like a revenge conversation. Humiliation is one of the strongest emotions associated with revenge because it threatens something fundamental. It threatens our sense of dignity. Researcher Dr. Evelyn Lindner, one of the world's leading experts on humiliation, has spent decades studying conflict around the world. Her work consistently shows that humiliation is one of the strongest drivers of retaliation, aggression, and long-term conflict. I think we're experiencing that, what's going on right now in the Middle East. Your brain believes that it can make someone else hurt. You'll feel whole again if you hurt them, but that's not how healing works. And you know this. I know you know this. So say this instead. What do I need right now? What do I need right now? After feeling humiliated, maybe you need some boundaries and set some boundaries. Maybe you need some forgiveness and granting someone some grace. My husband was kind of a jerk yesterday morning, coming back from the airport, and I set a boundary. I did it with grace, though, because I was embarrassed, and actually looking back now, it was probably a form of humiliation, how he talked to me in front of my granddaughters. I take that very seriously. My husband's a good guy, don't get me wrong, okay? And we had no sleep, we're up all night, blah, blah, you get the deal, right? So I was able to grant him some grace. And when I set a boundary, I did it with grace. I didn't say, I can't believe you said that to me, because that's typically where we go. You got it? It's like, oh, honey, communicating like that in front of the girls is just like, oh, my hot spot. You know how important it is to me to role model how couples want to engage. And this is really important for me, for my granddaughters. And I felt, I used the word embarrassed yesterday. Today I would use humiliated. I felt humiliated when you talked to me about blah, blah, blah in front of the girls. You got it? Okay. Maybe you need some forgiveness. Maybe you need to go to a therapist and get some counseling. Yay. Maybe you need to get your butt back to 12-step programs, right? Maybe you simply need to spend time with the people who remind you who you really are and who love you and adore you. Revenge keeps you emotionally connected to the person. I know you know that. Revenge only keeps you connected to the pain and the person who hurt you. Growth gives your future back, right? There's one more phrase I'd love for you to stop saying, and that's time will heal this. No, No, time alone doesn't heal humiliation. Understanding does, compassion does, connection does, and research offers another powerful site, and this is Dr. Lieberman. He found that simply putting feelings into words reduces activity in the brain's threat center, the amygdala, that fight or flight area. This is called affect labeling. I've mentioned it here before. That's why saying that was humiliating can actually help calm your nervous system down. Not that was embarrassing. If it was humiliating, label it humiliating, even if you do it with yourself or with someone you care deeply about. I'm not saying when you're in the middle of it and you scream at somebody, that was humiliating. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm going to assume you know what I'm talking about. And internally, instead of asking, gosh, what's wrong with me? Say this instead. Wow, what happened to me? That simple shift moves your brain from self-judgment into self-compassion, and that's the place you want to be. Humiliation may be part of the story, but it never has to become part of your identity. Okay, I'm cheering you on. Mwah. See you soon.